Yes. Hello, everyone. Be calling out your name. Let me know when you hear them. A 39 representative is present. Is there anyone whose name has not been mentioned? Apparently no. Yes, we have 39 representatives present. I grant the right to speak to AYYE employees, OP staff, and the interpreters. Financial manager, executive manager, and the financial committee also have the right to be present, the right to speak, and all members of the student union. Anyone else who needs to be granted the right to speak and or the right to be present? Apparently no. We can close item 2, move on to item 3, regarding the lawfulness and quorum of the meeting. According to our legislation, we have quorum if there are at least 25 representatives and the chair or vice chair of the representatives present. And also the invitation to the meeting must be published on the official bulletin board and website of the student union at least 7 days prior to the meeting. The invitation needs to be sent to the representatives via email at least 7 days prior to the meeting. And the invitation must be sent in Finnish, English, and Swedish. We have at least 25 representatives and the chair present, and the invitation has been sent 7 days prior. So the conditions are met, and the meeting is lawful and has quorum. Closing item 3, moving to item 4, election of 2 persons approving the minutes and 2 vote counters. So we elect 2 persons approving the minutes and their deputies, and 2 vote counters and their deputies. And I propose, as before, that the persons approving the minutes will act as deputies to the vote counters and vice versa. So this means we need 4 names. And also, the ones who approve the minutes will be given lunch vouchers to Kipsari. Opening discussion. Filman. Filman. Scrutinizer of the minutes. Who else? Ida Koponen. Great. Yes, and 2 vote counters, please. Last time counting the votes was pretty fun. I encourage you to join in. Astrid and Riihimäki. So, in discussion, I already forgot the names. But yes, okay, Filman Koponen, coordination of minutes, Holster and Riihimäki, their deputies. Holster and Riihimäki are vote counters, and Filman Koponen are their deputies. This has been decided, closing item 4, moving to item 5, confirming the agenda for the meeting. The agenda has been sent to you with the invitation to the meeting. Does anyone have anything to add, to comment on it? Apparently no. So we can confirm the agenda. Closing item 5 and with item 6, announcements. Opening discussion. Any announcements to make? Bielman said something, but the interpreter could not hear what, because he was not speaking in the microphone. Please speak out loudly so that people on the stream can also hear. Yes, thank you for this. Excellent point. Let's announce. Now establish a Telegram group for the Repco, for the group chairs. Please share this information. Thank you, Poutanen. I think there are no other requests for the floor, so we can close discussion and close item 6 and move on to item 7, latest news from the office. Member of the board, Kuraniemi, will present the latest news from AYYE's office. Please come up front so you can speak into the microphone. Hello, nice to be here. Tell you about the latest news from the central office. First, HR. Some HR changes. We have a new visual communications expert, new advisor for housing issues. Teemu Heinämäki is now a full-time IT expert. Also, we have a new arts advocacy project manager. The remote work recommendation has been ceased, and we started to move in back to the office in March. There's a new collective agreement. No significant changes to the collective agreement. And recruitments are moving forward. Then about community. Some community trainings for our members. And also the course for, there's an open, sign up is open for the course for guardians of order, so to speak. And for the community structure project, we have looked into the grant applications. And we also have a new association in our association register. Then about real estate. In the last meeting, or this going forward, this sale of some of our real estate properties. We have received many proposals. We'll talk about them a bit more later on. And our report on how to achieve carbon neutrality is moving forward. Just questions at the end, please. So we have to give up the recommendations about maximum capacity of facilities. And about for advocacy, we've met with all the board. And met with Antti Kurvinen, Minister of Science and Culture, related to the Russia's attacks. We also took part in a demonstration. Also had a related event to our members. And we are also for the Sula Students at Risk scholarship system. We also convened the honorary delegation and took part in Sula's opening seminar. And the board's Instagram introductions have also been done. Here's something issues that the board has dealt with. We gave our comments to Sula's parliament election program. Decided on the agenda for a meeting with all the board. Decided on corona policies, all upon members to a Teekkarius working group. And confirmed the agenda for the honorary delegation meeting. This under the scoring model for association grants. And also granted something to TF. The interpreter could not make out what. Thank you. Opening discussion. Thielman first. The interpreter cannot hear what Thielman is saying. Apparently sitting in a spot where the microphone cannot reach him. Any other questions or comments? Apparently no. Closing discussion. Thank you for stopping by. The motion was that the council decide to record the latest news from the office. This has been decided. Closing item 7, moving to item 8. Appointment of representing council members to the scholarship distribution committees. Pirkola will present this. The student union has a scholarship regulation, according to which the student union has 3 scholarships, which are exchange scholarship, community scholarship, and study scholarship. According to scholarship regulation, the board appoints a distribution committee for each scholarship, the compositions of which are presented below. In addition to the board members and specialists determined by the scholarship regulation, each distribution committee includes 2 members appointed by the REPCO. According to regulation, the members appointed by the REPCO are elected at the council meeting prior to the distribution period of the scholarships in the spring. Hello everyone, I'm Pege. And first I thought of having a 2-minute presentation, but now I extended it to 15 minutes. So, we talk about the scholarships. We had these funds from TKY, for example, the TTE fund, also responsible for. But today we'll be talking about these other tied funds, the scholarship funds, that is. they consist of, or they form these two bigger funds. Here we can see the actual model. We have the Tekare fund, which is one of the main funds. So the AYYE main fund for technical students. You can see that what kind of numbers we're talking about. We have small, medium, small, and large funds. This is a bit more of the model. Yes, then we have the exchange community and study scholarships that we will talk about today, and about these earmarks scholarships for guilds. For example, the Kaskelokki fund for a certain studies of certain schools. These are also old funds inherited from TKY. And the way the process works is that we have these three steps. We have the terms stipulated by the donor. Then we have the regulations stipulated by the representing council. These are kind of the bigger lines. The scholarship regulations. Of course, it's originally from TKY, and we haven't really changed that much over the years. All these three pillars, which need to be kind of not conflict with each other. It's important that we adhere to the will of the donor and to the other regulations we have. And the scoring system is decided or defined by the board. And then in the scholarship regulation, it forms the structure for the committee. Originally, and now it includes me, two members of the board, and two reps and council members. And according to the scholarship regulation, we go to according to the old model. And according to the scholarship regulation, these three original purposes: supporting people who are of low income and who are active in our community. We also thank active students and also students who have managed to kind of balance their studies and student activity. And so because of that, we have the exchange community and study scholarships. And about the scoring, for the exchange scholarship, it consists 50-50 of activity, student activity, and study success. The community scholarship is only from student activity, and study scholarship is based 60-40. So 60% of study activity and 40% student activity. And for the process, we give it about 40,000 euros per year. Of course, we haven't given exchange scholarships in the autumn during the pandemic. And so we give them out each in the spring, and the exchange scholarship in the spring and autumn. And the criteria are, as I mentioned before, when it comes to student and study activity. So this is the whole process. A few weeks ago, I brought this to the board, said to them that the representing council needs to form this committee, distribution committee, get the representing council members. Then we advertise them, define what the application period is, keep it open for a couple of weeks. Then we go through all the applications, meet a couple of times, go through everything again. Then the board makes the decision, and then we'll inform the people who have received the scholarship and those who haven't. Here we have So there's kind of a visualization of the process. And the funds that we use will be decided at the end, and it's actually for the financial committee to decide. But the amount of work, the workload, well, we need two representative council members. This to the distribution committee. There will be a couple of meetings. So RepCo members need to make certain kind of definitions about the workload, and then we have kind of define how many scores everyone gets. So or this kind of evaluation of how much work a volunteer has done. That's mostly what you will do. Yes, and there will be a couple of meetings in May. They will be about 3 to 5 hours, these meetings. Some old data. So we have some models, but of course, we're not that familiar with the art and business school side because it's a newer thing. So it'd be great if we could get more RepCo members from there as well. Then in October, there is also the application round for the exchange scholarship. So the meeting for that is about 3 to 5 hours.
So this
This
is
is
the last
actually the
slide.
last slide.
So what we are doing here is that we are choosing the individuals for this committee. Originally, we've had quite active people. We've had 6 that have wanted to be involved in this procedure, but it doesn't actually cause quite much of a excess because we still need to do the training. It kind of makes it more difficult to be equal on equality. So 2 would do the process. The amount of work would not grow because we are doing rolling the same data around. The policies are usually binding. For example, you can apply for 2 or 3 scholarships at the same time, so you can use the same data for scoring in all of these. So timetable constraints, of course. I need to get them to the board, so we could have 2 efficient individuals here. Thank you. Pekka. Opening the discussions. The template is seeking for 2 members appointed by the representative council in both committees until the end of this year, calendar year. If you want to change this model, it has to become a proposition of change. Also opening up the floor for candidate proposals and propositions. Fielman first. Thank you. Fielman doesn't have a microphone, so I cannot interpret what he's saying. If we have more than 2 individuals who are interested, we should have them. Something about the proposal for change. Seems like Fielman is just sitting in a bad place in terms of microphone placement. Request for the floor. We should move the microphone. So and when we have the green light, you may then go. Green means go. Yes, now you can hear it through the other mic as well. The interpreter confirms that you indeed can. So with the hand mic from here on out. things should be clear and working. Thank you. Regrettable for the interruption. So as a reiteration, if we have more than 2 individuals who are interested, we should definitely get more than 2. The amount of work is not that much extra. Of course, it's more for in terms of meetings for AYYE, but for the individuals concerned, it should be okay. These are things that we can decide. So I should strongly recommend that if we have more than 2 individuals, please set yourself as a candidate. And also, previously these have been chosen so that if you have names and we just to take 2 plus, and if you need a proposal is a new interpretation. This is into the task itself. This is pretty nice, pretty relaxed. There are long meetings, but we go through this comparison. What is this? How does it affect? Then as I've seen these tasks, it's definitely something that you should do because this is very good in terms of time spent versus impact. It's very nice. I strongly encourage you to join in. Thank you, Emil. Floor to Otto. Yes, you can hear me. Good. So there's a proposal for this previous process for change. We saw that this would be a better model. If you'd like a new model, then make a proposal for change for the new model. Thank you, Otto. English.
With this, if we plan to apply for the stipends.
Do you mean like helping from the background without being actual like editor representative?
English again.
Varmaan tarkoittaa nimenomaan sitä, että voi...
They mean that can you be in the work group if you are applying for a scholarship? Yes, you may. It's possible because sound is breaking a bit. So yes, I would see that there is no particular part that would prevent you. The party who does the scorings, it has a neutral base. So we give scorings based on what the system is. You can't change kind of for individuals. Like me being in the committee, let's give me more scores. That's not possible. So it's kept as a cohesive neutral stance. So it's possible to be in the committee if you are applying.
It's not that like I think anyone would like try to get more scores. It's just if it's like legally like even possible like to prevent like that people would.
Ei ole mun mielestä sitä lailla.
I think there's no legal. Thank you. The candidateships are open.
Olin just kysymässä, että onko se mikkejä enemmän.
I was just asking that do we have more mics?
Mä sinänsä kannatan hallituksen pohjaa, musta on ihan fiksu, että siinä on samoja
I'm for the board's template. It's smart that we have more individuals.
Jos me valitaan samat 2 henkilöä näihin kaikkiin
If we choose the same 4 people, maybe we could have more than 3, but our scholarship regulation is preventing us from doing this. So in a sense, if we feel that we want to do this in the future, we should maybe change the regulation or at least look at the regulation stipulations. All the scholarships that are being handed out, we need like 2 members. Is that the correct amount? Maybe look at this again. Ilman. I would remind that you get scores for later scholarships if you are in the committees, not for these ones, but for later.
oli hyvä myyntipuhe.
Was a good sales pitch.
puheenvuoron, niin ilmoittaudun ehdokasasetteluun.
So after the next one, I set myself as a candidate, as per the previous pitch. So Tuomas Takanen.
Joo.
Also propose myself.
Yes, eli Stimpert, eikö niin?
So Stimpert, right?
Hyvä. Meillä on 2 ehdokasta, eli päästään näille kyllä
Yeah,
eteenpäin.
candidates.
Nyt viimeinen hetki nostaa tassu pystyyn.
So last chance to raise your hand
Ehdolle.
if you want to apply.
Ei näytä olevan enempää puheenvuoropyyntöjä, joten suljen
No other request
ehdokasasettelun
before, so
ja
closing
samalla
the
päätän
floor for
aiheesta
candidate tips and
keskustelun.
closing the discussions at the same time.
Päättämään. Eli esitys.
So the proposal,
Pyydän hiljaisuutta
please,
istuntosaliin.
silence in the room.
Edustajisto päätti nimittää
proposal was that Representative Council decided to appoint members to the distribution committees defined by the scholarship regulation as follows.
Vaihtostipendin, yhteisöstipendin ja
The
opintostipendin
Exchange, Community and Study Scholarship Distribution Committees,
kalenterivuosi 2020.
appointing the members for the end calendar year first to the candidate tips decided. Closing item 8. Moving on to item 9, the risk-bearing for Teekarius 150 anniversary year, Uusvajärvi presenting.
Ja Otto esittelee meille tämän asian.
Will I just present it here from here?
Joo, all right.
Oh, yes, okay. Please say if you can't hear me. The stream or microphone. I don't trust these technologies.
Joo, päästään tosiaan käsittelemään aihetta,
Yes, we may then look at the issue which was discussed last year and warned that this is going to be an official business in this meeting. The aim is that you know what you are deciding, and as a grander decision or goal is that you know what's being discussed. We will decide, will AYYE 150 have risks as an entirety? It's kind of a funny wording is that of course there's some sort of risk inherent right now, but let's go to that later. First off, let's go through what are the financially important decisions that we need to take, and in this stage of the process, what does it entail? These are decisions made by the Representative Council, and a presentation can be done by several entities. In this case, the proposal has been made by the board. These are significant decisions in the sense that we often look at buying properties, buying plots, significant expenditure of monetary funds, etc. In these financially significant decisions, we have kind of dynamic break. These always need to be handled in the Financial Real Estate Committee and the board, and when the board has made a proposal, the Financial Committee must look at it and either be for or against. And if the Financial Real Estate Committee or Financial Committee is against or for, actually for, it will be handled in one meeting with a single majority, but if the Financial Committee is not for the proposal, then it would be handled in 2 consecutive meetings with 14 days between the meetings at least, and you need a 2/3 majority to pass the motion. 2/3 in each meeting, that is. So, what's it about? And why is this financially significant?
Tekre 150 juhlavuoden
Tekres 150,
tapahtumakokonaisuus on aika suuri.
the entirety
Tässä
of
on
all the events is quite big. We have
yli
quite a lot of
400 000
things
euron
happening. We have
budjetti.
400,000 euros of budget.
Me ollaan budjetoitu tähän niin kuin käytettäväksi,
We
että
budgeted
AYYE
for the usage
käyttää
itself.
sumutta takaisin.
AYYE is using
5 000
without getting
euron
it back about
kokonaisuus on niin kuin taloudellisesti otettuna huomattavasti suurempi.
5K,
Ää,
but in total
Ja mikäli tämä jostakin
the
syystä
big picture is a
osoittaisi,
lot
että se
larger.
budjetti ei pidä, niin
And if
sitten
it
AYYE
would be shown that the
tietenkin
budget will
kantaa
not
riskin
hold,
siitä,
of
että
course, the AYY will handle the
mitä
burden of
joudutaan
financial
sitten lopulta maksamaan, jos jäädään menettämään.
responsibility on what we'll have to
Ja
pay if we end up in the
nämä
red.
luvut, mitä tässä heitellään niin kuin
These
mahdollisuudesta
numbers,
joutua maksamaan, niin on aika arvioita, että totta kai näitä
these are evaluations on what
arvioida,
the
mutta
risks
jotta
are,
suora
hard to
käsitys
evaluate
niistä
risks, but in order for you to
kuluvaikutuksista,
get some sort
nämä on
of
tämmöisiä
picture.
arvioita
So
tuottajan
these are kind
kanssa.
of evaluations with
Vähän
the
tein
producer of the
suurimmaksi
events.
itse,
We've
mutta
done, the producer has
materiaalia
done
on saanut kyllä
themselves, but
tuottajalta.
received material.
Ja
Actually, I've done myself, but I've
aina
gotten
kaikkein
material
pahimmassa
from the producer.
tapauksessa olisi
In the worst case
toivottavasti
scenario,
skenaariota, jossa sen
uh,
yli menisi.
300,000 would be
Ja
the limit.
normaalisti tosiaan
Normally,
tapahtumatoiminnasta päättäminen
in events,
ei olisi meillä
deciding about events
lähelläkään taloudellisesti merkittävää päätöksentekoa.
would be
Eli hyvinkin tyypillistä
close to a
toimintaa
significant
AY:lle.
decision. So quite common activities for AYY.
Suuresta budjetista huolimatta.
And besides the large budget, or despite
Eli
a large budget, this is kind of a fringe
tekee taloudellisesti merkittävää
situation.
suuri
So
budjetti
mainly this would be significant due to the large budget combined with the COVID pandemic. It was more pronounced last year.
Ja siltikin tämä oli vähän siinä rajoilla, että onko tämä taloudellisesti
Still, we were kind of borderline whether or not we were a sound decision.
varman päälle tässä asiassa ja antaa edustajistolle tiedoksi, että tämmöistä
So we must still give this as information to the RepCo and bring this to the agenda. Why now? We have the celebratory years ongoing. We have already bound ourselves to these costs. We actually noticed this last year that we are a bit too late. Larger and larger commitments that we're making. Quite typical for activity for us. We didn't kind of have the opportunity to kind of evaluate that this would be financially significant. Actually understood later that we are actually talking about large monies. So that combined with the COVID pandemic, this might be a significant decision that should be brought to the Representative Council. We brought this to the last meeting last year. It was not possible to do this administrative process that I already explained and do that. We continued with the green light from the Representative Council. Decided that for next year we would bring it through the correct process, this system, so we could actually get assurance from the Representative Council to move forward with our plans. And on the handling, we looked at this with the board on the 8th of March, and we gave this proposal to the financial committee. Looked at this in its next day's meeting, and the financial committee gave its consent, and this is what we are doing today, is the Representative Council seeking a simple majority to get the mandate. We can get this done in one single meeting if the Representative Council so sees fit. So what's being decided? We are deciding that whether or not AYYE will carry the financial burden of responsibility. This would not have a significant risks or talk about financially significant risks. If COVID would not be a thing at all, it would be pretty simple. We have pretty professional producers.
tietoisia.
We have
Meillä
smart
on niin kuin
volunteers.
tapahtumatoiminta
We
hyvin
have
yritystoimintaa
activities which are
täällä
very
kokonaisuudessa
typical
niin
to
kuin
us. We do that
hallittavissa,
a
niin
lot.
mikäli
This
mitään sellaista
entirety of the
katastrofaalista ei tapahdu, niin
event
otetaan
is
kaikki
quite
tapahtumat
handleable. No
hyvin turvaan.
catastrophic things are probably about to
Eli
happen.
kunhan päästään järjestämään nämä tapahtumat
So as
niin
long as we can
tällaisessa
just
suuremmassa
actually
kokonaisuudessa on paljon asioita, mitä
organize this,
kuluttajat ja
we will have
vapaaehtoiset
lots of
pystyy sitten
things
tekemään, jos tulee jotain yllätyksiä tai muita matkan varrella. Et pystyykö
that we can
alastaan
do.
sitten jotain tapahtumia alemmas, jotain tapahtumia
We can
ylemmäs,
maybe
on
downscale
normaali
some
toiminta.
events and
Tietyillä
upscale some
tapahtumilla on
events,
kuluja, joita
do
on tullut
some
toisesta, eli puhutaan siitä niin kuin, operatiivisesta
swaps if need be. We're talking about
normaalisesta toiminnasta,
quite an
mitä meidän
operative normal
yhteiskunnalla muutenkin
activity
tehdään.
that we
Mutta
do on a general
koronapandemia
level.
tässä niin kuin se
But COVID is
avainsana.
the
Ja
key word here in terms
tässä
of
nyt
risk.
sitten päätös on, että rajoitetaanko riskiä rajoittamalla
Will
menoja
we
niin
kind of
paljon kuin tulopuoli huomioiden on mahdollista.
cut down
Eli
on the risks
tietysti
by
meillä tuottajat on
cutting
pyrkineet
down on
tekemään ja tekee,
expenses?
ja vapaaehtoiset on pyrkineet
Producers will
tekemään
be aiming
edelleen
to
sellaisia
do, the volunteers
sopimuksia,
will
jotka
be
on
aiming to
meille
do, and will
mahdollisimman
do
edullisia ja
contracts which
ottaa
are
huomioon
as beneficial
sen
for us
että
as possible, taking into account
voi olla
the fact that
mahdollista, että koronan takia
can be possible that due to
joudutaan
COVID
perumaan jotain.
we may cancel
Tietysti
things,
nykyisellään se riski on
or
aika
things
paljon
may be
pienempi
cancelled. Of
silloin, kun
course,
tätä
the risk is quite
käsittelemään, eli
much
tilanne näyttää
smaller than when we
huonommalta
started to look at
suunnan.
this. It was a
Ja
much bleaker situation back then.
tämä tarkoittaa siis, että kategorisesti ei järjestetä tapahtumia,
So categorically, we wouldn't
riski on
organize
mahdollinen tai sopimukset ei kata menoja
events.
peruuntuessa.
So the contracts won't cover costs if
Tässä on
things
ihan
get
pikkasen
cancelled.
lukuja ja arvioita päätöksenteon tueksi.
Some numbers to support your decision making,
Kuten
like
mainitsin, niin aika
stated
lailla
and like I mentioned,
arvioita.
these
Osa
are
näistä on
kind of
tietysti
estimate
tarkempiakin,
levels.
mutta
Of course, some of these are more detailed, but
tälleen kun puhutaan
when talking
talousarvioista, niin
about
silloin puhutaan tosiaan
evaluations,
arvioista.
estimates, we are talking about estimates.
Tällaisessa suuressa kokonaisuudessa luvut tarkentuu koko ajan,
So in
koska
a big thing
toimintaa
like this,
tehdään koko ajan.
the numbers will clarify
Näiden suunniteltujen
eventually
tapahtumien määrä on
because
14.
things
Arvio näistä
fluctuate.
kokonaismenoista on noin 400 000
Total of
euroa.
14, about 400,000 euros in total in
Varmentuu
expenses.
todennäköisesti vaan
Will
alaspäin.
be
Eli
going down from here
mikäli
would
niin
be
kuin
our estimate.
jostakin tapahtumista todetaan, että ehkä tämä ei ole toteutettavissa meidän
If we come to grips that we can't maybe
puitteissa tai jotain muuta
do this
mahdollista,
in terms of
niin
our
ne menot
staff
tarkentuu
or
vaan alaspäin.
volunteers,
En usko, että tässä kohtaa ruvetaan
there
lisäämään
will be
tapahtumia
less costs. Will just
tähän
probably not
listaukseen.
increase the amount of
Arvio
events at this
Hyrkän
stage.
osuudesta 65 000 euroa. Tässä ollaan päästy aika hyvin tavoitteisiin, eli
And
58 000 euroa on tällä hetkellä
65,000 euros, 58,000 has been confirmed.
sopimukset vetämässä.
We have the contracts that are
Aika lailla ollaan
pending
tavoitteeseen
currently,
pääsemässä.
so we will be reaching our
Sitten
goals.
arviolippu, haalarimerkki ja ruokalipputulos.
And all the income,
230 000 euroa. Se on
230,000 euros, which
aika
is
suuri
quite
summa toki, mutta se on
a large amount of
asia,
money,
mitä
but
pystytään
it's of course something that we can
skaalaamaan.
scale.
Ja sitten arvio TTR-osuudesta.
On the TTE fund, 130,000.
on luvannut tähän kokonaisuuteen osallistua
They promised
suurilla sponssimäärillä.
a lot of sponsorships for this.
Tässä on nyt vähän skenaarioita. Nämä on aika niin kuin
Here are some scenarios. Like mentioned, these are
arviota, eli
kind of evaluations
vaikea on niin kuin sanoa
from the
sitten,
horse's
jos
mouth, as it were.
tapahtuu joku skenaario.
So it's hard to say if some sort of scenario happens.
Kaikki tapahtumat siinä menis, mitä saadaan
How will all the events pan out? What can we discuss and negotiate with the TTE fund
suuruusluokkaa antamaan. Eli jos kaikki menee
to
hyvin,
give kind of scale to this whole process? If everything goes well, we'd say that maximum 5,000 euros would be our cost.
kustannukset on se, mitä
Mainly
AYYE
to volunteer costs is
tähän
something that AYYE will be forking out, as it were.
tietysti ei ole mitenkään niin kuin vähäinen
Of course,
tulos suoraan
it's
niin
not
vapaaehtoisesti, eli se
not
on
a lot.
aika
Not,
suuri
not it's
ja
quite
merkittävä
a big
kokonaisuus, mutta
picture thing with all
ei
the
silti
producers and the volunteers,
taloudellisesti
but still, in terms of
mitenkään
financials, not
ja
inconsiderate
mikäli olisi vastoinkäymisiä,
or
mutta ei saada
surprising.
peruttua
If we've
pääjumppaa
had
esimerkiksi,
problems,
niin
but
silloin mä näkisin,
the
että
main party would not be cancelled, we'd say that
kokonaisuus olisi ehkä 100 000 euroa
the
ihan
entirety would be
maksimissaan,
maybe
ja näen, että
100,000
on
euros
kuitenkin
in
aika lailla
total.
se worst case scenario.
That's kind of the worst case scenario. So
Pääjuhlan peruuntuessa on aika hyvät
if the main party would be cancelled, we have quite good deals.
Ja
We can just
siinä on
move them.
jonkunnäköinen, olisiko ollut
So we have
30 000 euroa, mitä siellä
maybe 30,000 euros
tulla takkiin.
that we might
Sitten on tää
incur in costs.
skenaario, jossa kaikki menee ihan
We have
päin
this
johonkin ja
all
mikään
goes
ei
to hell
onnistu, kaikki joudutaan perumaan.
scenario, nothing is being done, everything
En näe
will be
millään tavalla
cancelled,
realistisena skenaariona,
aka the shit show
mutta
scenario. I can't see this as a realistic scenario, but
laitoin tänne sellaiseksi niinku
I kind of
kattokokonaisuudeksi.
included
En usko
this in the.
tohon
I'm
oikeesti millään
pretty sure that we will
tavalla
not
päädytään,
end up.
mutta toi on niinku se maksimisuuruusluokka.
It's kind of the maximum scope.
Ja tässä on sitten päätösesitys hallitukselta, eli
Here's the decision
me
proposal from the
esitetään,
board.
että kannetaan riskiä tästä merkittävästä,
We'll be proposing that we will carry the financial burden for this event, for the risk,
talousjohtokunta on tätä puoltanut.
and the financial committee
Ihan
has
pitkälti senkin takia,
seconded this and given their consent.
siellä joulukuun edustajiston kokouksessa, vai oliko
So in the
maaliskuun
December
edustajiston
meeting,
kokouksessa, on annettu linjaa siihen, että jatketaan,
we gave the
jatketaan
policy that
näitä
we will continue
valmisteluita
these preparations.
ja
These preparations have been
riskit, mitkä
continued,
silloin
and
paljon suuremmilta on nyt
now the risks that seemed quite large, much larger, they have gone down. In terms of the COVID situation, they are a lot smaller, the risks are smaller, and
kohta, missä on hyväkin ottaa
this is
riskiä.
like a good place to take some risks. Would be kind of a bad thing to start canceling events after the COVID years.
Ehkä tää on niinku sellainen paikka, missä
This is kind of a place where we feel that the financial risk can be really carried by us for the benefit of the community.
Esityslistateksti, joka on kohtuullisen
Then we have the text, wall of text as it were, from the motions. Maybe you have read it. Maybe we'll move to discussions.
Avaan aiheesta keskustelun ja
Opening
ensimmäinen
discussion.
puheenvuoropyyntö meillä on
First request
Fiilmanilla.
the floor from Fiilman.
Allu, jos saat mikin.
Oh, Allu, if you can take the mic to Fiilman.
Kiitos puheenjohtaja Fiilman Voltti.
Thank you, Fiilman Voltti. Did we have kind of a breakdown on the budget? What does it consist of?
Joo, kohtuullisen tasaisesti silleen pitkin vuotta. Suurin osa näistä niin kuin ennen pääjuhlaa tapahtuvista tapahtumista.
Most of the things happening for the main party,
jotka sitten auttaa tätä pääjuhlaa.
they bring profits, assisting the main costs.
Pääjuhlassa on siis se suurin.
In the main celebrations will have the most costs incurred.
Siellä on ripoteltu nämä
So we have kind of
pääjuhlaa olevat tapahtumat.
trickled these down. The events before the main event, they're kind of smaller things.
En osaa ihan tarkkaan sanoa.
I cannot really give you exact breakdowns at this moment. Facilities catering on the main party, but these will be handled with ticket sales.
Kiitos sitten Palosuo, ja siellä on ilmeisesti joku.
Thank you then, Palosuo.
Yes, Palosuo Vihreämpi Aalto. Mietin, että
Palosuo Vihreämpi Aalto. Thinking that when AYYE 1011 was actually cancelled twice, at how detrimental was that as a whole? Yes, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure, but we're talking about a couple of, maybe, I don't know, 30,000. Couple of big ones.
Holmström ja sen jälkeen Yläpoika.
Holmström followed by Yläpoikelus. This sounds very good, but it's nice to be deciding on what we are deciding on. How does this affect AYY's financials? If the 300,000 would be a realistic risk, if we end up forking up 300k, it would be good to actually see our AYY's risk handling capability. What would the costs be kind of taken from? An excellent question. Depends on how painful it would be terms about investments. If we're talking 300K, then we can't really twiddle around with our operative finances. We would maybe need an extra budget or take from our investment portfolio, eating from the investment portfolio, as it were.
Yes, ja sitten Niko, ole hyvä.
Kiitos. Oikeastaan halusin vaan sanoa myöskin kiitos hallitukselle ja musta on erinomainen
Thank you to the
käytäntö,
board was
että
something
tällainen
I'd like
riski
to
tuodaan
say that
edustajista
it's
tiedoksi keskusteluun.
excellent that we get
Olen
this kind of
ehdottoman
risk
tämän
discussion.
päätösehdotuksen
I feel
kannalla ja
it's very
arvostan
important
tätä
and I feel
erinomaista
I'm
hallinnollista
completely
työtä,
for taking this risk, but it's excellent administration that this has been brought to us for our considerations.
Sitten onko
Thank you.
muita puheenvuoropyyntöjä
Do
vielä?
we have any other requests for the floor?
Ja Poutonen, ole hyvä. Tuplamikit.
Täällä viuhuu nämä mikrofonit.
I have the microphones waving left and right. So I agree.
Poikellukselle, että on samaa mieltä,
I
että
will
musta on
answer
hyvää
Poikelus.
hallinnollista
I feel that
käytäntöä
this is
tuoda
good
tää edustajien
administrative
tietoon. Mun makuun tää on kuitenkin
practice.
asia, josta mä olisin
I feel that
mieluummin
this
lukenut
is an
sähköpostin
issue that
kuin
I would have read
esityksen
an email of rather than hear a presentation. This is kind of for your information. So the manner of handling could be maybe more smooth or smoother.
Tuomas, onko muita puheenvuoropyyntöjä?
Do we have any other requests?
Ei ole, joten päätän aiheesta keskustelun.
So no discussion, closing discussions. We don't have any proposal to change, so moving to decide. The proposal being that the Representative Council decided to approve that AYYE bears a significant financial risks from the events of ECRIO's 150th anniversary year. Decided. Moving on to item 10, but actually to move it on to a break before that. It is 18 minutes over 6 p.m. So 12 minutes of break before continuing with the meeting at 6:30. Thank you.
Let's continue with the meeting. Actually, now we will close the stream. We're evaluating the candidates, talking about them. And if we want to talk about the candidates, we need to shut the stream. Because the candidates themselves may be watching. That is why we are
my request for the floor is actually about closing the stream. Closing the stream was grounded in this request, but I feel that we closed the stream on the wrong part. We should have talked about the process openly and then close the stream when we talk about individuals. It would be important that we would just keep the stream closing to a minimum. I feel that closing the stream interpreters having breaks in the audio quality. And the representative council should be given grounds on why the stream's being closed. For example, here when we discuss personal information. When looking at the stream, we hope that the representative council work is interesting to our work, to our member base, and to develop a system that when we close the stream, we could have an estimate of how long it will be closed, and maybe give some updates to the people watching the stream when we do actually be able to do so again. I will give the feedback to you. I had to do the material today. So this kind of doing as we go. Thielman has the next request for the floor. I second the previous comment completely. It's a very good point. A quick question to the board. About the FSHS payments. I would request from the board that would they have information for the student that we wouldn't have to actually bring it to here as a member proposal. Yes, I think that SYL has taken a stance. We are national advocacy work has something that we have given to SYL. This is a good point that we may take this into consideration at the office. If we could maybe create an angle that SYL hasn't tackled yet in the ministries and Kela. We will see. Poutanen next request. Poutanen from Greener Aalto, and to my co-representative council, some greetings that was wondering that we could get feedback from the representative council members on the meetings that I will this in at the end of the meeting. I will send you an email to a link to a survey. I could share it on Telegram. It's quite short, basic questions about your experiences in the RepCo meetings, and you can of course give these open feedbacks. I could maybe present these at some point and maybe garner more information in the future. Thielman? Tiina first, then Thielman. To the Kela FSHS issue, which are quite hard to hear. SYL does advocacy work to sensibilize this issue. And the problem is that the Sipilä government did these kinds of cutbacks. They kind of shut the bed, pissed the bed in this sense. So we are trying to kind of fix the problems caused. This is kind of a personal opinion, of course. But we will aim to advocate so that there would be a more sensible way. Thank you, Tiina. Then Emil. The quick question to Poutanen. In what role will you be gathering the information, as an individual person or? Thank you. As a group chair, for what the mandate of the group chairpersonship, we discussed this in the group chairs meeting, and the motive herein is to gather information based on which we can develop the actions of the representative council. Will it be general knowledge or just for individuals who will be getting access? So it is an anonymous survey. Of course, I can give the data to any willing party within the representative council. I should be able to share. There's kind of a free section that might not be shared because it has some, maybe it has some singulating information. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any other emerging matters? Pollari, please. Pollari Skisma. So Representative Council Poutanen gave this kind of Representative Council Telegram group. The icon is the same as the group chairperson. Right? Could we maybe change the icon for the group? Maybe we could take a group picture and change the icon to avoid confusion. Yes, we may take a picture. I will not deem you to participate, but hope you will. Do we have any other requests from the floor? The group chair. Thank you, chairperson. After the meeting, in regards, we have gone to the store, gotten some snacks and some drinks and some nice things. So if you have a willingness to do some after partying today, we may go to the central office and maybe have some after partying, maybe take some refreshments and maybe some chips or crisps. Thank you for your excellent choice of words. So it's good to close the discussion and close the item 11. Moving on to item 12, closing the meeting. The clock is 19:13, 13 minutes past 7, and closing the meeting.